What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. Today we're going to be talking about some rumors that have been happening over the last week or so, and it's usually circled around Nick Robertson and Max Pacioretty, but this video is going to be mostly about the idea that the Maple Leafs could be adding a forward to the left wing position. So if you guys are new here, make sure to like this video and subscribe. Join the squad. I'd love to have you guys here talking Leafs. We've got player previews going up almost every day, should be every day until the season starts. Now, as we're inching closer and closer to puck drop, I'm excited. I want to watch Leaf hockey. I know you guys do as well. So let's get straight into this video, and it stems from a tweet that came out of David Pagnotta, of the fourth period, responding to a Nick Alberga tweet saying that the Maple Leafs are among the teams firmly in the mix to sign veteran UFA forward Max Pacioretty. And Pagnotta responded saying, hearing the same re the Leafs and Pacioretty, this would be a standard player contract, not a PTO, professional tryout, if they agree to terms. So basically saying the Leafs wouldn't be giving a tryout contract. They would be giving out a standard player contract just to probably get ahead of teams that are only willing to give Pacioretty a shot. Now, before we get any further, I actually want to pull up a tweet that's going to help the argument for both sides on whether or not you would think Pacioretty would be a good ad or whether or not he wouldn't be. And it comes from Edna Garrett. It's so funny. Facts of Life reference. At Watch My Review. Now, this is a very one-sided tweet, I guess, but Max Pacioretty is a giant waste of time. I'm not standing by this, but I'm just going to say I agree with other parts of this statement. 35-year-olds coming off terrible injuries and 4 goals in 47 games last year with 14 minutes and 26 seconds of ice time per game. Why is he playing above a Nick Robertson who had 14 goals in 56 games with 11 minutes of time on ice? Well, the first solution to that is that Nick Robertson doesn't have a contract. Now, in the replies, it's very obvious as to something that I also have been saying the whole time, but it still hasn't happened, so I'm not too sure actually what's going to happen. But Nick Robertson is a restricted free agent who has requested a trade because of the fact that Sheldon Keefe didn't play him a lot. Now, was Sheldon Keefe right in doing that? I think he wasn't, because Nick Robertson, again, I keep trying to tell people, with the limited amount of ice time he's had, if you bump him up a couple minutes per game and you actually let him play 60 plus games, I think he scores over 20 goals, and the Leafs need that desperately. He scored 14 goals in 56 games, being bounced in and out of the lineup and all over the lineup, mostly playing on the third and fourth line, and he still was able to put up 14 goals. And we can't discount the fact that this kid has one of the best shots that I've seen in the Toronto system in years. Him, Matthews, guys like Nylander, they have amazing shots. And Robertson is up there with those guys. If you don't believe me, watch his highlights. But this is a very one-sided argument. So in this video, I want to try to make the argument a little bit as to why the Leafs might consider Max Pacioretty. And the first one is that Nick Robertson just doesn't have a contract. And if we're looking at Pacioretty, again, it's true. He's getting up there in age. But if you look at the consistency in his career, and this is the goal column right here towards the left, you have his games played and his goals. You can see this guy was still scoring at a high clip as of 2 years ago. Now, he's been riddled with injuries since this Vegas Golden Knights 21-22 season. He had 19 goals in 39 games. Like, he was putting up pretty good numbers. But again, look at the number of games played. He doesn't play a lot. Last year, he did play in 47 games. But again, not anywhere close to the 60, 70 game mark. And he had 23 points. If he plays 60 or 70 games, I think he easily scores, 15 goals. But the flip side to that is this argument right here. Again, Nick Robertson had 14 goals in 56 games with less ice time. He's a younger player. He has a better shot. He's a lot faster. Again, the age, everything comes into play. So this is where that back and forth argument comes. But again, the number one argument that I keep mentioning is the fact that he still does not have a contract. And if I'm looking at Puckpedia here, and this is with their Puck GM tool, you can see the Maple Leafs have options all over this team, but their cap space is pretty limited. Now, I have them signing Yanni Hakanpää, but the fact of the matter is he might not even play. Like, he might not even be signed. So that 1.5 might disappear, and they might just call up a guy like Connor Timmins again, or they might trade him. You've got Connor Dewar on the left side. You've got Bobby McMahon, Pontus Holmberg, Matthew Nyes. But Max Domi could slot in again on the left side beside Matthews because he played really well there. You know, a Pacioretty signing could completely change all of that. You could have Pacioretty on a third line playing with a different centerman, and maybe it's a Calle Järnkrok and you're moving Bobby McMahon to the other side, or maybe it's a Pontus Holmberg, but there's a lot of options. The fact of the matter is a guy like Nick Robertson fits in a lot better to replace a guy like Holmberg on this depth chart. And I'm not saying Holmberg will be on the second line. I literally just had him there to move him down here. If you can slot a Nick Robertson on this line too, playing with Tavares and Marner, or maybe it's Nylander, it depends on what they do, that allows you to have McMahon, Domi, and Järnkrok as a third line, which I think would be really good. And you have a guy with a lot of potential who can score on that second line. And if he doesn't work, you just swap him and McMahon and you try him with Max Domi, because if people remember, Nick Robertson actually did work with Max Domi for the limited time that they did play, and it was good. Like, there was a lot of breakaways for Robertson. Like, he was getting fed the puck by Domi, he was finding lanes, he was finding avenues to get to those open areas, and he was able to score quite a bit. So again, I like Pacioretty, and just to pull up his numbers again, he knows how to score. Like, this guy can really score. But ever since that 2020 season, this guy has just not played a lot of hockey. He's literally been riddled with injuries. He hasn't been able to keep himself on the ice. And he's playing at 3 more minutes on average than what Robertson was last year, and wasn't able to score nearly as many goals as him. And he's also quite the minus, and I don't really believe in plus minus, but you know, you got to figure his age and how slow he is, that might contribute to that as well for his entire line or his team, right? So it's a really tough argument, because again, you have to keep going back to the fact that Nick Robertson literally doesn't have a contract and he hasn't signed, but the Leafs need to address that left side. So if Robertson keeps saying, nope, I'm not playing here, you got to trade me, and the Leafs finally are like, you know what, fine, you're gone, we'll get a pick back for you, which again, I think will come back to bite them. But there's been a lot of damage done there by Sheldon Keefe in terms of not playing him and the development side of things. But you gotta replace him. And you know, people will mention an Easton Cowan or an Alex Steeves or guys like that. Steeves is interesting. Cowan is a question mark because he's really young, and I don't know if they're going to bring him up because he doesn't have a definitive spot in the top 6, or you know, we don't really know if there's guys that can play with him on the third line that will protect him in terms of like, this kid can play his style of game comfortably without that line getting burned, unless he does play with guys like, you know, Järnkrok and maybe even a guy like Holmberg and stuff like that. They can kind of fix a few mistakes, but that doesn't help him develop as a scoring forward, and that's what he is. So there's a million question marks. I wanted to give my thoughts briefly on Pacioretty. I'll probably end up posting this video and he'll sign with the Leafs or not the Leafs, and this will just be a wash. I don't know. There's more content coming today. Another player preview is going up, so be on the lookout for that. I've got lots of good stuff coming. I really want to bring back my Leaf podcast this year, but again, time permitted, I don't know when I'll be able to do that or if I'll be able to, but be on the lookout for lots of Leafs content. If you are new here, make sure to like and subscribe. Join the squad. Love to have you guys here. Leave your comments down below. What do you think? Pacioretty, Robertson, or somebody else? Let me know. Peace.